Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've sat down and filmed a video, but obviously, as you can tell, we're in a new space. Or if this is not your first video with me, we are in a new space. I'm in my new office/library with my beautiful bookcases behind me. I don't know where is going to be like my set, like filming location yet in my new place, but for right now, at least for today's video, this is where we're at. I will be doing a full bookshelf tour, a new updated one, because it's been a while since I've done one, and obviously now I added more shelves, I have a lot more books, and I will eventually be doing an updated one. If not, I don't think probably this week, but next week probably, because I'm still going to be bopping back and forth between 1 to 2 videos a week, just because I am very behind on Starting Line, which is the book that I'm writing right now. I was hoping to have a first draft done by the end of this month, and I have just about 40,000 words, which means that I probably have about 70,000 to write this month, which is a lot for me personally. So anyways, yeah, you might just get one video. I have my March wrap up today, which should be actually a pretty quick video because I read 5 books in March. I don't remember the last time I've read only 5 books in a month. I'm still trying to be like, you know what, I should still be proud of that. And because I had a lot going on, obviously, take my hand release, and I moved. So like that took up a lot of time. I had a really busy March. I also had a bachelorette party trip. So I didn't have a ton of time for reading, but what I did read, I enjoyed. So I'm going to talk about all 5 of the books that I read. I actually found a new favorite. I can't wait to talk about it. And it's one that you guys have been bugging me to read for like probably a year at this point. And I finally read it, and you guys were right. It was in fact amazing, so we'll get into that one. The first book that I read this month was For the Love of Cain by Ames Mills. So this one is a mafia why choose MMMM romance. But like I don't necessarily think it says like why choose vibes, because everyone's together, and normally like in a why choose, you know, it's like one and then like with the group of people, then maybe like 2 of the people are together. This one, everyone's together. But this one follows Cain, who is the head of some sort of mafia. I don't know which branch of mafia, but anyways, he's the head of a mafia, and one night he's out at a gala event and he ends up seeing this man, and he ends up bringing him back to his apartment and basically spending an amazing night together, and that is the beginning of their relationship. So he is with this dude that he randomly met, and then also Blaze, his bodyguard, right? His name was Blaze, right? Is one of the other guys, and he used to kind of be with Blaze a little bit. They're besties, and they used to kind of be together. However, Blaze and one of the other guys, like his partner, like they kind of had their own dynamic going, and Cain was like, I don't really want to like complicate that between you guys, so I'm gonna kind of pull away. But Blaze and the other guy like didn't really want that. They've always still wanted Cain, and then now that Cain has this new partner, they all start to kind of get together, and it's like a dom sub situation between both of the 2 pairs, and then like with each other, whatever. It's just a whole lot of fun dynamics for you to read and find out. But anyways, Cain though is of course getting undermined in his mafia business, and he's trying to figure out like where he has this mole kind of coming from, that's like delaying deliveries and kind of like tipping off cops and everything, and he's trying to track down like who is doing this, and it ends up being, you know, all of their stories together. I really enjoyed this. This is the first one that I've ever read that has like that dynamic. Normally all the why choose that I read is like a heroine and then like a bunch of guys. So for this one to be like all guys, that was fun. It was something different, something that I've never read before. This was my first book by Ames Mills. It was just fun. It was easy. It was hot. It was a quick read. Yeah, I just really like remembered enjoying my time with it a lot. So next up, so this one was actually in a reading vlog. It was in the like booktube roulette reading vlog. It was the pick that Nikki gave me for Second Chance, and so I already like vlogged me reading this book, but in case if you didn't want to like see that and like see any spoilers, then I'll talk about it obviously spoiler free here. So that is When the Stars Fall by Emery Rose. I've seen this one over the years and I've just never picked it up, but I love this cover. First of all, this cover is sickening. But this one is a second chance and like childhood best friends to lovers romance. So our hero and heroine in this one, they are next door neighbors and they just grow up being friends. And the book it's told in 3 parts. And the first part is them when they are kids, and then like up through teenagers and like high school, to then when our hero leaves for the military, and then when he comes back, then that's like the second part, and then the third part is like the second chance part. So anyways, they're childhood friends. You see them growing up, and they start out as friends, but then, you know, they end up being like each other's first loves. But then yeah, he leaves, and when he comes back, he's just not the same person that he was when he left. And they deal with a lot of struggles. It's a very emotional book. I loved it. I wasn't like expecting, I guess, like all of the emotion packed into it, but it was truly like such a beautiful and like gut-wrenching ride. And honestly, part 2, which was the most emotional and gut-wrenching, was honestly my favorite part. Part 2 was my favorite. I loved it because you know who this character is, you know who our hero is, and like how much he loved and cherished our heroine when they were kids, and then seeing him come back and just being like a shell of the person that he used to be, like, oh my god, it was so hard to read. And just like how much she like is wanting to ride for him because she loves him and remembers the person that he is deep down, whatever. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I really liked the second chance aspect of it as well. And the beginning was not my favorite because I don't love reading like when they're kids. I just like, I get so bored. Like, I don't care when they're like anything younger than like high school. I'm like, I don't even care about like whatsoever. Because at least like high school, you know, like first love, dating, whatever. That's kind of like, okay, we could start there. But with this, I actually do understand that you really needed the foundation of their romance for the second chance part of it. Kind of similar to Where the Mountains Meet the Sea by A.R. Breck, one of my favorite books of all time. I feel like that's kind of similar vibe of like, you need the foundation from that. Also, I just realized, oh my god. Okay, just don't. It's been a while since I've filmed. I'm a little rusty, and wow. Okay, anyways, I really liked When the Stars Fall a lot. And like I said, if you want more like in-depth thoughts as I'm reading, you can check out the BookTube roulette reading vlog. We're already almost done. I only got 3 more. Next up is The Daymakers by Grace McGinty. So I think I've already talked about this one. I think I talked about it in my Why Choose video that I just did, right? I think I did. Am I thinking, did I not? Anyways, so this one, our heroine, it's a rock star Why Choose. So our heroine in this one, right at the beginning of the book, she is in an abusive relationship and she is running from her ex, like literally in live time. And she ends up climbing a fence and hiding underneath the tour bus in order to try to get away from him. And that does end up working for her. Like she ends up hiding and like he can't find her. But then one of the band's security members finds her hiding underneath this bus and is like, can see that she clearly like needs help, and he's like, why don't you stay on the bus, like we'll take you to our next stop, and then when we get there you can like go, and at least then you're like a distance away from him, you know, whatever. So she ends up agreeing because she has literally nothing else going for her. She has no family, no friends that she can really reach out to. Like she has been very isolated by this man, and so she ends up agreeing. And then when they get to the next stop, the band like managers and the security, like they take her out to lunch and they're all talking just like about business and stuff, and the band is in some trouble. So the band, I think they're called the Daymakers, right? So they are all masked, like all of their identities are a secret. It honestly felt very like Sleep Token-esque to me. I was like, I wonder when this is published and like if the author is a fan of Sleep Token, because I was kind of like, it was giving me kind of Sleep Token energy. But anyway, so the band is all masked, like none of their identities are revealed, and it is becoming a problem for them. They're just sleeping with a bunch of women, and like these women are like ripping their masks off and like finding out who they are, and then the band is having to like pay them off, and like the label is having to pay them off. So like the band is just in trouble, and they're like, you cannot still just be with like random groupies and women, okay? Like you guys need to cool it. But of course they don't want to listen. And when they're talking about like a solution at breakfast one morning, our heroine is like, what about if I stayed on? What if I was the solution? And they're like, we're literally not gonna ask you to do that. And she's like, I'm volunteering. I would love to do that, because you know what? She thinks that the band is hot, and she's like, if I want to stay on and I'm safe, I have money, whatever, this sounds like a great deal to me. So she ends up, you know, being their solution to the problem of them not sleeping with random women. Listen, this book was just fun. You just got to go into it for the fun ride, okay? Is there realism? No, but I wasn't looking for realism. I was looking for hot rock stars, because quite frankly, I miss writing them. Obviously starting line is athletes, love athletes, but I love my rock stars first and foremost. So I'm honestly missing writing them. So I've been enjoying reading some, and it was just fun. The guys were hot, and you just gotta let yourself enjoy the ride. Now, this is the one. This is the one that y'all have been telling me to read for months, year maybe. And I've just always put it off because I haven't been in the mood for it. And let me tell you, it was phenomenal. This was my favorite read of the month. It could end up being a top 10 contender of the year. God of Malice by Rena Kent. Listen, okay, so I have only read 3 Rena Kent books. I read Aiden and Elsa's trilogy in the Royal Elite series, which are books 1 through 3. Loved them. I loved those books. But then I just never continued on with the series because I just got distracted and I just never went back to them. I've been wanting to read the God series, and then God of Fury is the one that I'm like really wanting to get to. So I'm like, finally, I'm like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna start God of Malice and I'm gonna get rolling. Let me tell you, I was reading this on the plane to my bachelorette trip, and I was like, dear God, normally I don't care. I don't care about reading anything in public. I have like no shame about like reading a book with like abs on it and cover. Like I genuinely don't care in public, like whatever. Let me tell you though, this, I was like, I am turning the brightness down on my Kindle and making the font small, because if anyone is looking over my shoulder, the beginning like 3 chapters of this book, I was like, dear God, they're gonna be like, are you okay? Questionable, but this was fantastic. So this one, oh my God, what are their names? Well, I don't have any of these names. Clearly I didn't like prepare for this video as well as I normally do, because I didn't write down anyone's names. But anyways, this is like the 2nd generation of the Royal Elite and like the Rena Kent universe, whatever. Our heroine in this one, she is basically on a cliff at the beginning of this book, and she's kind of contemplating jumping and like contemplating like what her death might look like. And when she is up there, oh, is it Aiden? No. Oh my God, that's literally, I was like, oh, is it Aiden? No, because that's the one dude. Why am I thinking that it starts with a K? So anyways, she's like kind of wondering about her death, and then our hero shows up and he saves her from falling off of this cliff, because then she decides like, I don't want to. But then you realize that this man is a true psychopath, because he doesn't care. He's not actually trying to save her life. He's like, you can either fall off this cliff and like, I'll let you die. Like I'll straight up just drop you off this cliff right now if that's what you want. Or I can pull you up and you can thank me for saving you. So definitely check your triggers on this. This is dark. This dude is he is a psychopath. Like this, he is. And like Rena Kent even warns, like he is a psycho. So like, just you have been warned. They are going to rivaling universities, these like private elite schools for all of these rich powerful kids from these rich powerful families, and she's at one and he's at the other. And he just immediately after this cliff incident happens, he just keeps on coming around her, and he like can't figure out what it is about her, because like I said, he's literally a psychopath. Like he does not have these like emotions towards anyone or anything, and he can't figure out like why she kind of like quiets that in him and why she's still like intriguing to him. So he just keeps coming around and harassing her until basically she falls in love with him. Anyways, that's a really shoddy explanation. But yeah, I just loved this. I feel like so many people have already read this book, because like I said, so many of you guys have been telling me to read it for so long. And I finally did, and it was amazing, and I can't wait to keep going with the series. I just genuinely really bought into the romance between these two. Our hero was written so well. Like I was just so impressed with the writing that Rena Kent did in this one, because the way that the hero's mind works, and like even let's say you drop into a POV chapter and you're not sure who's a Susan without even seeing any names, if you just like read some of it, you would be able to tell when it's the hero, because he just has a different way of thinking, and like he's very calculated. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Nino from Twisted Emotions by Cora Riley. It's fascinating the way that he's written and the way that he thinks and the way that he like perceives situations. And I was really intrigued by this book as a whole. I loved it. I loved the romance, but I really loved the hero's character, which is why I'm really mad that I can't remember what his name is. And also I saw that these got picked up by a traditional publisher, which is wild to me, considering what happens at the beginning of this book. Thinking that this is going to be like in general bookshelves, like insane to me. But I'm so excited about that, because like I love that darker books are getting like picked up, but just like I never thought I would have seen the day. Last but not least, yes, I do include it on here because I mark it on my Goodreads, and also because I've read this book like 6 times. Take My Hand, which I don't even have a real copy yet. I don't even have the one that doesn't have the not for resale, and so many of my friends have been sending pictures of like them with their copies, and I don't even have mine yet. I'm still waiting on my author copies to come in. But anyways, this is my book, Take My Hand. This is the 2nd book in the Whisper Me Nothing series. It just released on March 25th. It can be read as a complete standalone. You don't have to read book 1 in order to jump into book 2. It's following a different couple. So this one follows Hayden and Carter. It's a friends to lovers, mutual healing, rock rock star romance. So Hayden is the bassist of Whisper Me Nothings. The band is falling apart and they are leading up to an impending breakup, but they're still just trying to make any last ditch effort they can to kind of like stitch themselves back together, because first and foremost they were always friends, but even that's kind of crumbling between them all. And the way that he kind of finds a distraction from all of that is with Carter, who is the band photographer, who was on tour with them in the first book, and now in the second one she is shooting these summer shows. For the first time in her adult life, she's like kind of all on her own, because she went from living at home to living with this boyfriend who is a piece of shit. Obviously I hate him. But anyways, now she's just navigating life on her own, and her and Hayden really strike up a friendship, and just kind of, they know that they can't heal each other, but they can instead kind of be rocks for each other when they need it. And they also end up being really attracted to each other and falling in love. So anyways, I don't know, it feels so weird to try to like pitch my own book to you guys. So anyways, I count it as a read for this month, because like I said, I think I literally read this I think I read this whole thing through like 6 times, because I don't reread while I'm writing, but then I have like my first big read through for my big edits, then I have my second read through for smaller edits, and then I have my 3 rounds of reading with my actual editor. So maybe I read it 5 times. I don't know, a lot, so I am including it. Well, I currently am reading 2 other books that I'm close to finishing, but I didn't end up finishing them before the end of the month, so I'll have more in April for sure. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Sorry it's not a lot, but it's been a pretty crazy month. But like I said, so I will have my April TBR up either this week or next week, just kind of depending on how much I can get done. And then also, like I said, I am gonna do a bookshelf tour, so looking forward to doing that as well. That is it for today's video, and I will see you when I see ya.